This is Just Win Bets, baby, on the Sports Bet Winning Network.
Our next guest has spent years covering the Iowa sports landscape, moving from the producer's booth to becoming a staple of the afternoon drive airwaves. He's one half of the duo of that and has turned the bench into the most exciting place to be in sports radio. Joining us now to talk Hawkeyes, Jayhawks, and everything in between, representing the hashtag bench mob, it's Lucas Strain. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Let me ask you this question here, my friend. You've made the jump from being a producer here of the show, right? Or contributor to a primary host of the afternoon drive. How has the dynamic with your partner, Sean Roberts, changed now that you're, quote, off the bench, right? And leading the conversation every single day?
So while I was producing his show, his co-host was Heather at the time. Those two did a really good job of keeping me involved anyway, where after the first couple of months, I get my footing right and I'm getting the show up. But then after the first couple of months where it kind of felt like it was a 3-person show where, my name wasn't in the show by any means and I wasn't the headline, but it did feel like I was just part of it. And then there would be times where one of them was gone. They wouldn't find a fill-in co-host. It would just be me. So I would do the double duty of I'd be the one producing the show and I'd be the second co-host. So when we did make the transition over to off the bench and Sean and I became, the duo in the afternoons, it really didn't feel like anything was changing. Yeah, I added a little bit more to my plate, but it really wasn't much. So it's credit to Sean and Heather for making me as involved as early on as I was. So the transition was actually pretty easy. It is funny now, though, where Sean is the program director of our entire station. So he likes to pretend he technically is my boss, but I just joke with him. No, you're not my boss. No way, shape, no way.
Oh man, do I know the feeling of that one? Oh wow, yeah. Well, listen, you've of course talked about this hashtag bench mob, that culture, right? So the bench mob has really taken off, definitely on social media, and have it taken a life of its own there, and on the airwaves, of course. But what was the aha moment when you realized that that this wasn't just a show title, but a community that listeners were actually claiming as their own?
Yeah, our show is called Off the Bench, and it was something that we just kind of thought of from the beginning. We want our fan base, we want our listeners to have some kind of name, something, a title themselves, to attach themselves to, something to take ownership of. So you've heard the term bench mob before. That's not a term that we invented by any means. Plenty of basketball teams have called their bench the bench mob or whatnot. But then when we started to see more and more people say it, like bench mob. Like, for example, when we're out in public, we will have people just come up to us and say, bench mob, a part of the bench mob. Obviously, we have a line of merchandise and stuff. And even yesterday, I was running in a race literally last night. And right at the start, I'm maybe 10 seconds in, and I hear somebody off the side yell bench mob at me. Earlier this morning, somebody posted pictures of them wearing their bench mob gear during the race because they knew I was going to be doing it too. So it has taken on a life of its own. Sean and I like to say that creating the term bench mob was the best thing we ever did because it makes our listeners feel like they are a part of the show.
I'm very happy for you, my friend. And of course, not only with your show and your success there, but you reaching out to your listeners out there in Iowa. We're joined, of course, with Lucas Strand, and you can follow him on X as at Lucas, at Lucas Strand. And make sure you follow him on X and catch, of course, his afternoon radio show there with his partner off the bench there. So let me ask you this question here. When it comes to the voice of Iowa sports fans are notoriously passionate, obviously, right? And sometimes polarized. As someone who grew up in the local scene, how do you balance being an objective journalist, right, with the homer energy that your listeners love?
I will always be objective because I will always expect the best out of my team. So when they're not playing well, I'm going to rip them. When I think somebody, a player or a coach makes a bad move, I'm going to be very vocal about it, and I'm going to say this was a mistake. So yes, fans of rival schools or rival teams are always going to, oh yeah, here's Lucas when I'm being appreciative of them. But when they're bad, when there's something that I think, okay, this was bad, and this I need to rip them for it, I will. So I take I take the gloves off. You know what? I don't hold back. I'm going to rip them if I think that they need ripped. So you look at it as a fan, but it also is like the professionalism of, okay, I also I have some relationships, I don't want to burn them to the bridge. Like we have McCullum on, Ben McCullum, Iowa men's head basketball coach. We have him on, probably once a month or something like that. I had Kirk Ferentz on before the football season last year. So it's not like you want to just, you want to rip them every single time, but it is kind of that nice balance,
Absolutely, absolutely. But that's always good to kind of like have that balance. And for me, where I'm honest with my team, and mostly we do not only college, but we do, of course, professional. I'll call out the Washington. I'll call it the Skins. I don't call them the C word. I'll be honest with you. But and any of the local teams that we follow, I just call them, and I call it straight down the middle. Yeah, I'll give credit where credit's due. But listen, if there's a dumb bonehead mistake either by a player or a coach, I'm definitely going to call them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's actually that I will have some Iowa fans reach out to me and be like, Lucas, you're never happy. You're never happy with what I was doing. I always expect better. I expect, it's like, remember the Titan. Perfection, gentlemen. We will be perfect. So it's stuff like that. I actually do have some Iowa fans who give me a hard time how I should be more positive.
Yeah, like I said, I can definitely relate to that. I can definitely relate to that. Again, we're here with Lucas Strand, and you can follow him on X at the Lucas Strand there on X. Listen, when it comes to the future of radio, with the rise of the podcast, and that's what we've done, and we have a little over 10,000 in less than a year, or about a year, going on there, and it's great having a relationship with VSiN, talking to the guys over at Sports Gambling Podcast, etc. With this short form video, you've been very successful at keeping the traditional radio cool, right, for the younger demographic. What is one thing radio provides that a pre-recorded podcast never can?
Well, so one thing that we like to use the tagline live and local. And, when you think about the live part of it, when you have breaking news that happens in the afternoon, from 2 to 5 Central Time, breaking news happens all the time. So that's something that you get those instant reactions, the live reactions when something goes down. Maybe a player hits the portal, a free agent signed somewhere, just some kind of breaking news. You learn that Kevin Durant's not going to play in Game 1 of the Lakers and the Rockets series. It's breaking news like that you really just you can't replicate. And it is the genuine reactions. When you have a podcast and you have these short form clips, you can kind of edit things together, If it's something you didn't like before, you can change it. Or I don't think this happens very often, but you could theoretically re-record it. But you can shorten things down. When it's radio, it's all genuine. It's live. There's no going back. You got to mean what you say. So there still is a magic that is radio. And our ratings, our revenues still show it. But, we're not stuck in the Stone Age. We know that we have to advance with it too. So we also will grab clips from our show and post them online. And we'll tell people, go and listen to our podcast, because every one of our shows is posted as a podcast afterwards. So we're not stuck in the Stone Age. We know that we have to continue to advance. So, we'll put stuff out on Twitter. We'll put stuff out on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, all that stuff. But radio, people like to say it's dead. And it's certainly not what it used to be. We're not oblivious to that. But radio is not dead.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. I truly agree with that statement. But Lucas, it would be, of course, limited to our audience if I didn't have the opportunity to ask you this question. Of course, you talked it recently, or you just did earlier, about your quote unquote hot takes there. But what is about your favorite Des Moines spots? What's one of your favorite Des Moines spots there in Iowa? And also, your hot takes, since going back on that, just a little follow up on that, on Iowa versus Iowa State, the dynamics, talk a little bit about that.
My favorite spots in Des Moines. I mean, if you're looking for restaurants, always got to shout out the sponsor, Jethro's Barbecue. They're one of our big sponsors over here. So shout out Jethro's. Love the tenderloin, love the wings. Fuzzy's
Ooh.
Tacos is really good. They have some of the best tacos you'll ever have. Some of the hot takes that I put out there. The one that kind of there was kind of a jinx going on with men's basketball this year. Whenever I would go after a specific player, in the next week they would go off. So like one guy I was very hypocritical on this season was Alvaro Folgueras. And I said that he was not living up to the expectations that he was coming in with. And I know you out on the East Coast, you're not going to follow the ins and outs of Iowa basketball from day to day.
Sure.
But Folgueras is the one who ended up hitting the 3-point shot against Florida in the round of 32. So it was kind of funny where I had to go and eat my own words there, where maybe just that one singular moment made the entire contract worth it. But then the Iowa and Iowa State stuff, like you asked about for a second there, is I love to butt heads with people. I want Iowa State fans to take me seriously. I don't want them to just always think, oh, here's Lucas being negative about Iowa State. Lucas is hating on the Cyclones. Oh, here we go.
Right.
But I do like to butt heads because that's what a rivalry is all about, right? If
Sure.
you don't hate your rival, then what are you doing?
Sure. No question about it. No question about it. No, I love exactly. And, you know, we've our producers and stuff like that, including myself, we've done our research here with you guys in the sense of, you know, and talking to other guys out there, especially our good friend Rob, Rob Donaldson, where we had him on a couple weeks ago. But yeah, man, I agree with you. The rivals are key there. I mean, for me, I always well, my school, of course, is the Chapel Hill, North Carolina, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Yeah, UNC. We don't talk about the D word. We don't even, you know, being there and stuff like that. I don't even, you know, it's my. I'll say this, something personal. My in-laws, or not my in-laws, excuse me, my sister-in-law, who I love, you know, obviously my brother's wife, is she graduated from there. I'm like. But she's been in the years that I've known her, and she's great. She's been very respectful and stuff like. And we kid around. We don't take it serious. Sometimes I'll throw up. I'll throw in a UNC this and UNC that. Now we haven't been that great in the last, you know, in my opinion, the last couple of years in college basketball. But hopefully things will change.
I hope you really liked that Final Four a couple of years ago. That shot over Mark Williams, then didn't you? End Coach K's career.
Yeah. No, you know what even stings me even more? And this was a few years ago. Marcus Page was on the team, and this is talking about Villanova in the final. You know, with UNC. You know, he makes this fabulous shot, and it's tied. And you know, obviously they took a timeout. And Coach Wright on there, and you know, and the guy's shooting it, you know, way beyond the arc, and I was like, oh, and it was just killer. And obviously we win it the next year, but it's just, yeah, it kind of has a bad taste in my mouth.
That one hurts. It's those type of losses. I mean, you losing a buzzer beater in the national championship.
Yeah.
It's gonna sting. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter even if you win it the next year. That moment's gonna sit with you.
Yeah. There's no question about it. No question. And I'm kind of glad that I mean, listen, Hubert Davis, who is a local guy here in Virginia, I respect him. I think he's a great guy. He's a very nice guy. Went to one of the local high schools here. I just don't think, honestly, he was ready, and I kind of blame Roy Williams a little bit, but I don't think he was ready to be a head coach. He's a great assistant coach, and I don't think everybody is you know, there to become the head guy. Okay, even if it's a CEO or what have you, you know, head coach, principal, whatever it is.
Yeah,
you know, you could have the credentials, and you can, hey, I've done this. Hey, that's fantastic. But who's to say, like, for example, Michael Jordan? I don't think he would be a great head coach.
No, probably not.
Great person, great. You know, don't get me wrong, but you have to have that right tool.
Yeah.
You know, that's my opinion.
Speaking of the North Carolina coaching gig, that was something that we paid attention to in the state because McCollum's name was being brought up so much. Who did you want to be UNC's coach? Did you think there was something to McCollum there? And how you feel about Michael Malone?
I didn't know if McCollum was the way to go. I mean, I'm not knocking Coach. I'm not knocking him at all. I think he has a great resume. In regards to Mike Malone, I think we pulled, and this is of course a figure of speech. I think we pulled the trigger there a little too quickly. Now that Billy Donovan is there, I think him having the opportunity to come back into the college world. If I'm Kentucky, I'm picking up the phone. You see what I'm saying? But
make it say no.
Yeah. I think he would be a great recruiter and stuff like that. I think we need to go back to Carolina basketball. And what I mean by that, it used to be, and Roy did this. And of course, I've watched where Dean Smith, that's talking about my younger years there. But, you get the shot or you play defense and then listen, they take the shot, we get the rebound, and then you go. We're running up and down the court. And I see with Coach Davis, Hubert Davis, he was just bringing it up. The guard was just totally bringing it up slow but surely. I'm like, what are we doing, man? I mean, we need to go. And you remember Carolina from the past where they had scored, 90, 100 points a game. Easy, especially in the tournament. And it's like, because we're just run up and down and they get tired. I'm not questioning the athleticism of the players. I'm questioning the way that they were coached, and maybe it was too much Mr. Nice Guy. And you need to be a little bit of as a former high school football coach of 20 years, you need to be a little bit of a jerk. It's kind of like a love-hate relationship. Be firm, but also be fair. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, McCollum, the way that he's had the last two teams, that 1 year at Drake and his first year at Iowa, so that tempo is certainly not what you're looking for. He likes to say, McCollum always says that he's only running that slow because he has to. He likes to say it's because of the talent that he has.
Right.
But if you have that precedent of you're a slow team in these 2 years, well, guys who run and gun aren't necessarily always going to go to Iowa. You're going to have that label of we're a slow team.
Yeah, absolutely. Lucas Drain, of course, joining us on the show here. Let me leave you with this question, my friend, and I know you have a busy schedule ahead of you there. So in your segment of Lucas Notebook, yes, you often highlight the little things in sports. Looking back at your career so far, what is kind of like the little thing or small piece of advice you receive from KXnO that completely changed the way you approach the way that you handle yourself on the microphone?
So when you're giving bets out on the air, I think what you have to be the most careful about is you cannot go so far in depth. Like when if you're going to put out like a bet and you're going to have a write-up of it, you're going to want to have all the information, all of the numbers that you're using to defend yourself, which I always have them. But when you're on the air, like that's not something that people really like. Live radio, that's not what they want to hear, right? When you're listening to something live, you want to be entertained. If you're just listing numbers to defend your case, well, people just, the numbers go in one ear and out the other. So that was something that I really learned. Like at the beginning, when I was first doing this, I was giving out all of my reasons why. And I was taking, 6 minutes, 7 minutes to go through 3 bets because I was just going so in depth as to why I was doing everything. And they were winning. My first day, I went 7-0. The first day we ever had the segment, I went 7-0.
Nice.
Pat myself on the back on that one. Haven't repeated that ever since. But now I just go through, you say the bets, you say maybe 1, maybe 2 reasons why, but now I'm going from it's taken me 6 minutes to do 3 bets to it's taken me 60 seconds to do 3 bets, because we know that not everybody is a betting person. You are.
Right.
I am. We're betting people. But when you list the numbers and all the reasons why, people just, they ignore it. So my number one thing, our show's number one thing is we want to entertain people. That's our number one thing. We want to have fun. We want people to feel like they're a part of the conversation. And that's what we just try and do every day. And that includes the notebook. I just try and have fun with it.
Yeah, I completely agree. We used to do that as well over here at the network. And we cover over 20 plus sports. I specialize in soccer and domestic and in international. Got a pretty good showing here on MLS. And I know it's not really a popular sport. We do cover English Premier League and all the other leagues over across the pond. Yeah, obviously we do cover NFL, college football, college basketball. I mean, the whole 9 yards there, and we have other people that handle it. You can't just do it all at once. But people have asked, hey, why did you come up with it? Blah, blah, blah. And we'll give like a small little paragraph when we do our shorts about it. But I think, and I don't mean to be mean at all, I'm just being completely honest. I think we live in a kind of an ADHD world. And again, I'm not knocking that. Okay. I'm just saying that the people want it right now.
Yes.
Hey, look. Okay. Hey, I got Houston Rockets over Lakers, -4.5 punt. Next, but we got to go. Got to go, And you can, and I'm just using that as an example, but maybe it was a bad example, but it's just kind of like, hey, look, we know what we want to say, but get the information out there and just, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, people love to scroll, right? People love to scroll, so they want those short form videos. They want it in and out. They want in and out. That's another thing we like to say. You mentioned like soccer there. We like to say play the hits. You want to go, if you're going to go more in depth on something, you want to go more in depth on something that people care more about. So like right now we're in the middle of the NBA playoffs, and I love the NBA playoffs. NBA regular season, NBA playoffs, I'm all the way in. I know not everybody in Iowa, and the NBA is not big in Iowa at all. So I just give my picks. I'm not really giving a reason why. But when it's football season, so we're talking college football and the NFL, I go more in depth. I'm still not going into the weeds like I used to, but you give a little bit more explanation because we say play the hits.
Yeah, I like that. I really do like that. It would be, we've had a huge UFL audience as well. Let me leave you with this last question, my friend. Okay. Do you think the UFL would it benefit going to Des Moines?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not, because in the UFL is different from the UFL is different. Okay. The reason I say probably not is because of how college centric this state is. They love Iowa football. They love Iowa State football. So indoor arena football is not big. We know this, right? But there is an indoor football team here, an indoor football league team here, and they don't sell out. They don't get numbers at all. And again, UFL is bigger than indoor football. But if they don't have that success, I just don't think that a UFL team would be able to succeed here. We have a minor league baseball team. They do really well. They're really good. The iCubs, it's the Chicago Cubs minor league affiliate. They do really, really well. I think a baseball team would succeed here, but no, probably not a UFL team.
Okay, I respect that. No, I just have to ask, and I know that you're a big, huge influence or voice there in Iowa, so that's why I just wanted to ask real quick about that. But again, I truly appreciate your time there, Lucas, and you can follow Lucas here at the Lucas Strain, at the Lucas Strain there on X, and catch him, of course, on his radio show. Is there people outside? Like, are you guys on iHeartRadio, stuff like that?
Yeah.
Could you shed some light on that?
Yeah, so we are an iHeart affiliate. So if anyone happens to be driving through Iowa or Des Moines, we are on 106.3 KXnO. Our show is broadcasted throughout the entire state on the Iowa Sports Radio Network. But then, like I said, we are an iHeart affiliate, so you can catch our stream on iHeart. You can use it on the app. Just search the letters KXnO, or you can go to KXnO.com. That's our live stream.
Again, Lucas, we truly appreciate your time, and good luck to you. And, you mentioned some of those places out there in Iowa. I think Shano and I might have to drive by or fly out there as we go to Vegas, maybe stop, check those couple of those places out. And
when's the next time you're going to Vegas?
We are throwing our hat in. We're throwing our hat into the ring, so to speak, at the end of July, to participate in the Circuit Millions and Circuit Survivor.
Gotcha.
So our good friends over at VSiN, we're going to be staying at Circa, and we have a great relationship with VSiN. We've got, I don't know if you're familiar with the network or not, but they, of course, the network covered, it's kind of like a CNN or Fox News, which 24 hours of sports betting, stuff like that. So they're the sports betting network there. And we have a great relationship with them. We just had a number of people on. And matter of fact, we're going to have our good friend Zach Cohen. It's going to be coming on next. But yeah, we're going to be there in July, and looking forward to sitting down with a couple of the guys. Maybe talk to Derek Stevens. Who knows?
I'm going to be there at the beginning of August, and I will also be staying at Circa.
Very nice, very nice. Who knows? And again, we were told end of July. They might move us to beginning of August, but if they do, hopefully we can meet up. And first round's on me.
Second round's on me.
There you go.
We'll bounce it back like a ping pong ball.
Well, thank you, Lucas, for joining on. And again, make sure you catch him on X at the Lucas Strain on X and check out his show. And you can find that on iHeartRadio.
Yep.
When we return, we have, of course, our good friend Zach Cohen live here on Just Win Betsy.